We haven't been here yet.
Yes. It's very good, yeah. We saw you at ping pong.
Yeah, I'm gonna try that today if I can. It's been I used to play it when I was much younger. Had it for 30, 40 years, so
Well, that's what the robot's gonna get you back up to speed.
that's why I was sweating bullets. It's
Let me put my hearing aid on. Cool, I hope.
Okay.
Great.
Flip back there. Since that's the key.
Okay, this is me over here. We were trying something called a hybrid meeting. And what that means is that we have several people on Zoom coming in. And you can see we have a few people in the room here. Yes, so we have both of those. I want to mention that this room, for the people in the room, this room is moving. So if you have telecoil equipped hearing aids, you can turn them on and you can hear directly into your hearing aids without any background interference. And I love to talk about telecoils and I love to talk about hearing loops, and there is information on the information table. And if you attend another meeting, we will really get down into the weeds about what it's all about. So, as you can see, this meeting is being recorded and it'll be posted on the chapter's YouTube channel. Hoping my clicker will work. Okay, let's see. Get it. Okay, so this is okay. For those of you who are online, you'll see in your toolbar, lower part of the screen, there's an icon that's chat. You can open this chat and you can type a message to everybody, or you can find somebody you want to send a message to privately. And I want to invite you to and acknowledge my helper online, Alan Katsura. He's from the Northern California Diablo Valley chapter, and he's a volunteer for us. And so he's sort of in charge of that. So if you have any technical difficulties, you can't hear or anything, please put it in the chat. He'll respond to you. This is a disclaimer. This is, I can't have all these people. Okay, hold on, everybody. I think I need to get a different mouse. Okay. HLAA Mission Viejo does not endorse any single product or service. This meeting isn't to provide information, education, and support. We do have a sponsor, and I cannot fail to mention them. They actually support this meeting by covering the costs for the card is the live captioner. And so I do want to mention that. And let's see. I want you to know that Caption Call provides landline phones on your already installed network and also has captioning for iPhones and Androids. And it's a wonderful app. One of the benefits of this particular application is that it records what you're saying and what your caller is saying. So you have the whole conversation chronologically. Okay, this is Jo Gale. This is the woman who is providing live captions for you. She's just typing away while I'm speaking. And so she's from Chicago, Illinois. And good to see you, Jo. Thank you for being here. And thank Caption Call for covering this expense for us. Mission Viejo Chapter is a 501c3 and tax deduction may be available for any donations depending on your tax status. This is all volunteer. No one receives compensation of any kind. So we depend on your donations for support. So our website, www.HLAAMV.org. For those people in the room, there's information. Are you okay? Is it
telecoil test?
too loud or
No, he's doing it.
It's like maybe a dead zone here, man.
I'm sorry?
I don't mean to interrupt. Go ahead.
Okay, all right. So there's my name, Tony Burian,
Sitting back there.
and there's my personal email address for the chapter, and there's my text. If you want to text me, that's a great way to get a hold of me. And that's that. So I'm going to adjust the screen. All right. So because this is a hybrid meeting,
You only get to see. That
Alan, could you see if everybody's muted?
Called AI,
Yes, everybody's muted.
American idiot.
Okay, well, Wendy Lou, all of a sudden, I don't know why we see her lights in the ceiling.
Probably has her phone.
Okay.
Or feeling.
Well, normally, the person who's speaking shows up on the big screen, but her lamps were showing up. So, and also, Alan, would you please put on focus the speaker, whoever that is? Okay. Now, we are going to bring out, are you okay, Jeff? You look like you're knitting your eyebrows. Okay.
The only thing, Tony, is that you're not facing us and you're standing in front of the words that we can't see them. So we're kind of at a disadvantage here. So either
this over.
move microphone or move over.
Okay.
Yeah, you were
Thank
here
you.
last.
Well, this is a learning process as we go along.
And I'm a teacher, so learn.
You were here last Sunday.
And so Anne, Dr. Debbie, the Amazing Hearing is a sponsor of this of the Mission Viejo chapter, and they provide a lot of services behind the scenes. and can assist in many ways, answer your questions. And this is the first meeting of the new season. Okay, 1 minute. Do you need to see captions?
Do you, oh no, say, do you,
You're
it'd
okay?
be good if they could face us? Because people on Zoom can see the captions, we can't all see them.
You can't see the captions?
Well, I can now, I moved over. But
Oh.
not every, if
Because
like
you
if
were
somebody was
scanning
sitting
it,
here,
you
they
couldn't
could
see
okay.
All right.
So. What might happen? I'm then going to set up your slideshow, and I'm gonna pass the little thingy.
If we go here, is that better? Is this microphone?
1, 2, 3, is that better? If we turn it on.
It's a concept, start.
And how about if I go there?
Oh, much better.
Much better? Tony, if I went sideways, could we do it this way? She wants us to kind of face the screen. Have the captioning.
Yeah, they have the captions, so.
The camera is supposed to be an artificial intelligence camera that follows who's ever speaking. So that is the whole idea. So we'll start there with our first slide. Just to introduce myself again, most of you know, but I am Ann Mundell-Noel, and I have been an audiologist for over 30 years. I used to have a private practice over by the DMV, and in 1999, I sold that. My boys were 2, 3, and 5. A company sought to buy it, and so I thought, oh, God didn't give me these beautiful boys to work my whole life. So I retired for 12 years, and then I came back into the industry in 2011. I went back to my old practice and got up to speed in 2 years. And yes, there was a lot of learning. I had stayed current with my licensure, but I had to get back up to speed. And in 2013, I left my old office and went to the new location and started from scratch. And I am in the Trader Joe's shopping center, just south of the old Laguna Hills Mall. The new REI Center that opened today.
Oh, my.
So the REI is now where Marshall's used to be, and it is a zoo. So stay away from there this weekend. But I'm happy to be here. I'm very passionate about helping people with their hearing, and we hope that you learned something today. We are here for you. So if you have questions, you have concerns, raise your hand, go on. The people online can raise their hand and Alan can tell us. But basically, we just want to answer your questions. So the way I'm going to start out is Dr. Gabriela Rodrigues, is a doctor of audiology, and she joined me in July of this year. So I have been looking for an audiologist for over a year. We finally got a match, and she actually joined me while I was in Uganda on a missions trip. So I was gone for 2 weeks, and she stepped in while I was gone, and everything's been going well. So we're thankful for that. So what we're going to do now is talk a little bit about hearing. Hearing really takes both sides of our brain. So sound, we have light that kind of goes through or not, the pointer. So we're going to start with, there you go. I see it on the wall. Got the TV. Okay. So we're going to start out that the sound, as you know, goes down the ear canal. The outer ear is made just to collect the sound. and it hits the eardrum. And then the 3 little bones in our ears vibrate. And we have our eustachian tube down in our throat that allows the pressure of our middle ear to be the same as the outside pressure. So as we go up into the mountains or up in the airplanes, we're designed to keep our pressure equal. Then we have the inner ear, which is the cochlea, the thing that looks like a snail. And that little organ is the size of a pea. So look at your fingertip, put your fingertip up, take the first joint and think the whole organ of hearing is only that big. And because it's so small, blood flow going in and out of it is crucial. It's the only organ in the body that doesn't regenerate itself. So you're born with what you get on day 1, and it goes down from there. They are working on different types of regeneration with jellyfish and starfish, but at this point, we do not have hair cell regeneration. So that's why taking care of your hearing is so important. So what happens is after the cochlea, we have the nerve. The auditory nerve takes the signal and pushes it up to the brain. So what we start out with is an acoustic signal that gets transferred to a mechanical signal, which then becomes a hydraulic signal and then becomes an electrical signal. So it's an amazing system that's very efficient as long as everything is working well. And what happens is the sound from the left side of our ear goes to the right side of our brain, and the sound from the right side of our ear goes to the left side of our brain, and then the 2 sides tell each other what's happening in real time. So it's phenomenal. So what we're going to talk about today is just what happens to the system over time. So one of the things that can cause hearing loss is having a blockage in the outer ear. So in the ear canal, it could be earwax. It could be some growth that happens because of swimmer's ear, being exposed to cold water, but there could be a blockage there. The middle ear, the reason that we get a blockage there would be cold congestion causing fluid. So if we have fluid, it would be in that area. But the main portion of hearing loss comes from the nerve or the inner ear not getting enough blood flow over time. So we lose our hearing with aging. It's not that we just get old, although part of it is that the system is deteriorating over time, but it's usually a lack of blood flow over time, which is causing the lack of hearing. So what we're going to do is move to the next slide. The clicker's not working. So just if you hit the computer.
Myself.
Excellent. Number 3. So what we're going to talk about today is when you get your hearing tested, what does it look like? So most of you have seen this, the audiogram. Maybe. And basically, when we test hearing, we are testing not only the loudness, which is up and down the scale here from soft to loud, but we're going across different frequencies. And the frequencies that we test are the ones that encompass speech. So yes, we have hearing that starts at 20 hertz, and we have hearing that goes out to 20,000 hertz. But we test 250 to 8,000 hertz because that's the area of speech signals for the English language. And that's where we are going to focus, because although we have other hearing tests are all about speech and communication. So when you get a hearing test, you will have this as far as the graph. And Dr. Gabby now is going to go into talking a little bit about the tests that you should get in a basic hearing test, and then those that only an audiologist can perform, and tell you what the difference is between an audiologist and a hearing aid dispenser. Next slide. Thank you. all of them.
Back?
Nope. Next slide, the whole slide.
They'll come up like one by one. You just bring them all up. Okay, so while she's doing that, I'm Dr. Gabby. We are going to talk about what should be included in a test battery. So the first thing someone who you go for your ears should do is find out why you're there. Edit case history. So, get a case history, ask you why you're there. What history do you have with your ears? Have you had surgeries? What symptoms and signs are you noticing with the hearing loss now? Once that is established, then that guides your provider as to what the test needs to happen with the testing. Then they should look in your ears, make sure there's no wax, make sure everything looks nice and healthy, like Anne was just talking about. Once that's established, you can go into the testing that's marked on that audiogram. I believe only an audiologist can take out wax. We have another slide going more into detail, but a lot of time you'll see an audiologist or a medical doctor to actually take out the wax. Once we start the test, there's a few things that go into the test battery. We can probably go to the next slide.
Causes the wax to be in the ear.
So wax is actually your ear's like defense mechanism. So everybody produces wax. Some people are more lucky than others where they produce a lot of it. It's antimicrobial. So people always think wax is an icky thing, but it's actually really clean. It depends on your ear size and shape, how the ear kind of retains the wax and if it becomes a problem or not. That has a little to do with it, but again, protection, right? We don't want anything to get down to the eardrum to hurt it. So the wax is kind of that first barrier of the ear protecting itself.
So that wax keeps the water from going in further, or
So, yeah, so he asked if when you go swimming, if wax is what keeps the water from going in. And kind of, but if there's a lot of wax that we haven't dealt with, the water can actually get trapped behind the wax and then become an issue. So wax is its ear's way of defending itself, but if we let it get out of hand, and if you have a curvy ear canal or a small ear canal, and it can't work its way out naturally, it can become a problem.
Is it a bad idea to keep cleaning it out like with a Q-tip or not?
If you know your ears are clean, it's okay to take a Q-tip around the shallow end of your ear. When it becomes a problem is if we don't know if there's wax in there, and then we shove it deeper and deeper and deeper until it's impacted. Yeah, so I would see your audiologist. Get your ears cleaned out. Once you know you're working with a clean slate, it's much easier to manage on your own.
How do they clean your ears out?
It depends. It sounds icky, but
Put water in there or something?
you could. She asked, how do you clean your ear? Well, how do we clean your ear? Yeah, it depends on the kind of wax, to be honest with you. So we either suck it out, we can just kind of scoop it out with tools, or water station. We have all three of those options in the office. So just kind of based on the person.
And they can tell if you have wax dish by looking in your ear.
Excuse me,
No.
this is Al. This is Alan. Okay,
Yes,
people in the Zoom meeting are not able to hear the questions that's being asked. So if you could repeat the question so the people in Zoom can hear it, please.
Got it.
Thank you.
Excellent. Thank you, Alan.
Okay. Any other questions on that? All right, we'll move on. So there's a difference between an audiologist and a hearing aid dispenser. It comes down to how much schooling they have. So an audiologist either has a master's degree, like Anne, doctorate degree, like myself. A hearing aid dispenser gets trained by another dispenser and gets a certificate. With that, obviously, we have a few more tests that we're able to perform that a dispenser is not qualified to do. Some of those tests involve testing the middle ear, so making sure your eardrum's nice and healthy, making sure there's the crossing of the pathway in the brain is happening appropriately, things of eustachian tube dysfunction, and testing for tinnitus. So ringing or buzzing in the ears is called tinnitus or tinnitus. Both are appropriate, and only an audiologist can test and treat for that as well.
One of the things you can talk about is what is a hearing test versus.
Alan, do you have any questions from the Zoom audience?
No, chat's empty right now.
Okay.
So the one thing is though, is there is a little audio problem sometimes, and I think it's with the movement of the mic while the person's speaking.
Okay. Would it be better if we put it up there?
Well, you have the same problem because then you'd have to get closer.
Gotcha.
Okay. As we're going on to the next slide, another thing to know the difference between an audiologist versus a dispenser is one, the methods like we discussed, but two, what the end goal is. So a dispenser is able to test to fit you with a hearing aid. See if you have a hearing loss that qualifies you for a hearing aid. Or an audiologist is testing to look at overall medical health. Your ears are very intricate, as we saw, and are very involved all the way up to the brain, and that can actually impact you over your overall health. So an audiologist is qualified to look at kind of the big picture and make an appropriate medical referral if necessary. When fitting a hearing aid, one thing that's really important is a test called real ear measurement. That's something that takes into account the shape and size of your ear when fitting a hearing aid, which we do on all our patients. And then having a T-coil, which a lot of you are using right now. In Laguna Woods, most rooms are looped. So using your T-coil is also really important to go over and understand.
How do we know if we have a T-coil?
Yeah.
I asked that when I came in. I haven't.
You don't know? Yeah. So it's something, most hearing aids have a T-coil. The question was, how do we know if we have a T-coil? The answer is, most hearing aids have a T-coil inside of the hearing aid. It may or may not be switched on, not something that your audiologist does. If you know you're in a place that's looped, that's a program you'd want to create. You know, we can take a look before you leave today, but you'll know by either the buttons on your hearing aid or if you have it connected to your phone, checking the phone program.
Take ovens and white.
Okay, I can do this. Let's go just to the next slide.
So asking about the T-coil while we're here in this loop area, if you are not sure, we do have some listeners here, and you could put a listener on, and then if you heard me better into your ears versus how you're hearing me with your hearing aid, then you would know that you would need the T-coil. You don't think? Okay, so it's about getting it as close to our mouth, I guess, as possible.
So this little brochure addresses the question, do I have a telecoil? Do I have a T-coil? Those are telecoil and T-coil mean basically
Interchangeable words.
So this actually, you may not know how to talk to your closer to your mouth.
Hearing
healthcare provider. So this actually has suggestions on how to ask that question so that you can.
Or else I can hold the brochure.
What I wanted to do was to open it up. So there's, when you get on the phone with your provider, here's where you say, dear audiologist or hearing aid dispenser. Then there's word for word. So you can intelligently have that conversation. Because if you're asking this question now, you're really at the beginning of learning these things. So, and you don't know what to ask. You don't know what you don't know, and you don't know what to ask. So this little brochure can be very helpful. Do you like one? Okay.
So I'm going to tell you that Tony has been with HLAA for 15, 20 years. He used to work for them. But she is the advocate here in Laguna Woods for the T-coil. That is something that should be in every public facility. By the American Disabilities Act, it is mandated, but is not implemented.
Showing the sign.
So when you see the handicapped access, we should have as much access for those people with hearing loss. But one of the advantages of living in Laguna Woods is this T-coil. The Performing Arts Center was just looped in November. Thank you to Tony.
Yeah.
All the community boardrooms have been looped. Thank you to Tony. Most of the clubhouses are getting looped. Thank you to Tony. She has been asking people to write letters, go to the meetings, because it makes a difference. And so her legacy is going to be the T-coils here in Laguna Woods. And so in these meetings, whenever you see a sign like this, then you know the room has the capacity to be able to turn your T-coil on.
I'm sure. Yeah. Okay. So up here is a listing of all the clubhouses and what is available for accessibility, whether it has a hearing loop or it has an FM system. And so pick up one of these on your way out. Also, there's a flyer there that says, what is a hearing loop? And the other talks about what a telecoil is. So, yes, Vicki.
I've been really trying to get the telecoil to work. Okay, thanks. As a new resident, I've been really trying to get the telecoil to work. And personally, I'm having trouble in this room. It was louder over there than here. But the telecoil option for my brand new hearing aid, there were two options. MT, which is microphone and telecoil, or T, which is telecoil. So I had the provider switch from MT to T, and it worked really, really well at the Performing Arts Center. So there are two telecoil options, at least for the Philips hearing aids, and I recommend.
Okay, now.
Yes, and.
So what she's talking about is MT, means that the microphone on the hearing aid is on, as well as the T-coil. T means the microphone of the hearing aid is off, and you're only hearing the T-coil. The advantage of having MT is that if the person sitting next to you wants to talk to you, you can still hear them talk. If it's only on T, your hearing aid is not working as a regular hearing aid, it's only working as a T. So, but now with today's technology, you don't have to choose MT or T, because through the app on your phone, you can turn the microphone of your hearing aid on and off easily. So I recommend that you stay on MT, And if you only want it on T, you can go to the app and turn the microphone of your hearing aid off.
As I wanted to say, I am a hearing aid wearer. I also have a cochlear implant. And I prefer, unquestionably, I prefer to be either on the T or not. If there's any background noise or anything, I want it shut off. So I have profound hearing loss. So Biggie acknowledges, okay, so that's my choice. But if you, most hearing aids provided now, you have an app on your phone and you can very quickly adjust from N to T or to MT. You can have all of those features. But for me, that just doesn't work for me. I want to be M or I want to be T, period. Okay.
I just want to clarify. If you're hearing through the T coil, the words have to be sent through a microphone.
Yes.
You can't just go into a room. The prevailing room next to in Clubhouse 2 says it has it. I'm sitting here thinking, I don't hear anything. Well, it occurred to me they're not using a microphone. So that is the clue. You have to have the microphone and the T coil.
Yeah, good point. So right now, as we're talking in the mics, that's why T coil can work. If I were to just talk out loud, not going to work. This room has a microphone in the ceiling. So sometimes they're hidden. It's not always a hand microphone really obvious. But yeah, if you're not hearing well, that would be a good first place to check.
And I'm really getting kind of persistent about this. I have been in this room for another type of meeting, and I turned on my telephone. But does this have to be turned on before the meeting? It's passive, it always should work.
It's on all the time. And that is the microphone. So even if the presenter is not using a microphone, thank you, Fred. Even if the presenter is not using a microphone, that microphone should pick up for the loop.
Look at the
So
box
just
up there.
Try it.
See the green box, the lights up there? That's the box.
Yeah, that's the driver for the loop. And just last week, I asked the loop installer to install an amplifier for the loop. So last Tuesday night, he installed the amplifier, so it should work. Okay.
Okay.
That's just for this room.
Yeah, let them know that they could test the strength of the T-coil in the office.
Oh yeah, that's a good point. Anne just said your provider can test the strength of the T coil in the office. That way we know that it's functioning appropriately.
Is that adjustable then? Is it going?
It's adjustable through your software of your hearing.
He asked if the T coil is adjustable, and it is in whatever you're adjusting, if you're using your phone. Yeah.
But when you program the hearing aid as an audiologist, you can change the T-coil program.
Correct. And just said, as an audiologist and I'm programming the T coil, I can also adjust the strength of the T coil. So if you're in lots of places with the T coil and that's really important to you, that's something to talk to your provider about because they can make it stronger if needed. Okay. Going back to the slide, you guys have a handout here that goes over this. This goes back to talking about kind of the differences between an audiologist and a dispenser. An audiologist is able to look at the picture, and this goes into some other medical situations that could impact hearing loss, vice versa. So that's something good to look at. If you have any of these things, stay on top of your hearing test with your provider.
Yes.
Yeah, question?
If you've ever been tested for hearing,
I've never been tested for hearing. Should I go to a doctor or should I go to just anybody, or does it matter?
It depends what your goals are, but I would recommend you see an audiologist. That way you're getting the full picture. We're not focused on just trying to fit you with a hearing aid. We can see if there's any other medical indications that need to be addressed as well.
Thank you.
I'd like to make a comment.
Yeah.
So I think your question was, should I see a doctor? They don't know anything. They don't test for hearing. But they're talking about an MD.
You know, I mean, a doctor in this field, or just anybody I see
An ENT, fine.
I'm a veteran and I've gone to the doctor, but the doctor. I'm a veteran and I've gone to see a doctor. The doctor refers me to an audiologist.
Same here.
Dispensers who do basic testing just for hearing aids. There's an audiologist who will look and make a medical referral to a medical doctor if necessary. But an audiologist is the first step in getting kind of the full picture, specifically for ears and brain.
Thank
That answer the question?
Yes, thank you.
So I just want to give a little history on hearing and Medicare and the doctor. I have a master's degree in hearing science, and in 2007, I was grandfathered in as a doctor of audiology. Because in 2007, we changed our standard from a master's degree, 6 years of college, to a doctorate degree, 8 years of college. So we have 8 years in hearing sciences. Your GP gets about 30 minutes. Okay? I'm just telling you, they do not keep up. They do not keep up on hearing. That's not their specialty. We became doctors of audiology so that Medicare would recognize us as an LLP, a limited licensed professional, so that you could come directly to us. 98% of the referrals that we make to ENTs, ear, nose, throat doctors, are appropriate. There's a very small percentage of a patient that we wouldn't refer to get medical care. So it makes sense for an audiologist to be the entry point for hearing. Unfortunately, that happened in 2007. We are now in 2023, and we have not budged. The medical doctor still wants his $65 for your office visit, and then he's going to refer you to wherever they refer you to. So it's supposed to be that Medicare is going to start allowing you direct access to audiologists, which would be wonderful, but I'm not holding my breath. Okay? So your question is a good one. Where do I start? Vision, we know we lose our vision in our 40s and 50s. We start losing our hearing in our 60s and 70s. So we really should have a mandate, a recommendation to have our hearing tested at least when we turn 60 to be able to get a baseline and then be able to go from there. Again, the main reason we lose hearing is because as we get older, our blood doesn't flow as well, the little hair cells don't get the oxygen they need, and they start to fall apart. So I hope that kind of answers your question. The other thing is that Medicare was made as a major medical insurance, life and death. Eyes, ears, and teeth are not life and death. So that's one of the reasons that they are not covered under Medicare. The other reason is that the American Medical Association is too strong, and unfortunately they don't make any money off of audiologists. It has been proven that if we would improve our hearing early, we would save money on falls, isolation, depression, all the things that happen as Joyce is holding up the sheet, all the things that happen as a result of hearing loss could be either mitigated or reduced. But then what happens?
Medicare has to pay for those.
The doctor doesn't make as much money. No, if Medicare we would save money. It's already been proven that if we would get fit with hearing aids earlier, we would be healthier. But unfortunately, that's not the case because for most people, it's an out-of-pocket expense. A well worth one, but an out-of-pocket expense. So in the essence of time, Tony, do we have questions online? Where are we at?
I wanted to make a comment. The Hearing Loss Association of America, our parent company, in Washington, D.C., they have had several legislative initiatives. Some of them started by lawmakers, but it never got a lift. So what that means is we're not pushing hard enough to get what we need.
Absolutely.
So, I hate to be political, but this is one time we all need to get on the same page and fight for what we need. And here's something else I think we need. I think we need our primary care physicians to recommend hearing tests. I talk to my primary care physician all the time, and I say, are you recommending this to your patients? Oh, it should be part of the annual exam that is recommended by Medicare in the fall. I think October, November is when they want you to have an annual test. Make sure that your blood is warm and all that. So basically, we just need to get on board with that. And I will do everything I can to let you know. If you're on my email list, I'll be sure to let you know when things are up for review and who to contact. So that would be the House of Representatives and eventually the Senate. So, okay. Thank you.
Yeah. Any questions in here? Yeah.
Vicki.
Well, just to mention that, and I really appreciate you being here as representatives of the company, and I know you have a good reputation. Let's just talk a little bit about the elephant in the room, which is the cost of hearing aids. They're very expensive, maybe $3,000 per hearing aid. I have a top of the line Philips, which I just got from Costco for about $1,000. So I have read online, the Veterans Administration, they're not allowed to charge more than maybe 10% of the cost of an actual hearing aid. Costco, I've read, they just charge maybe 10-15% over what they purchase the hearing aids for. Just like ketchup and everything. Now, the companies, and this includes the House Institute, which is the premier organization, I'm reading that many audiology companies, they're charging a 50% over, and the audiologists work on commission. This was the case for me visiting the House Institute. I asked the person, are you being paid on commission? The House Institute's very famous in Los Angeles. Very, very famous. Even their audiologists are being paid on commission when you buy your possibly $7,000 pair of hearing aids. So personally, I've been to many audiologists. I've had ear surgery for famous people, but Costco was a great choice for me. And I only paid $1,000 for one hearing aid because I'm deaf in the other. So can you talk about the extreme costs of hearing aids, and might you even be able to reassure us that your company doesn't have a high markup?
Okay, Joyce wants to first comment before.
Well, I just want to say, I have a hereditary hearing loss. My mother lost her hearing. So I've had hearing aids for many years. I need the support of a professional audiologist as things go wrong. I've been in the office 2 times this week because something was not working. I know at least 6 people who've gone to Costco and don't wear their hearing aids because they don't have that follow-up support. So are you happy with your follow-up support? Because that's really, really critical.
So what I want to address is the cost of the hearing aids. And what I will say is that I keep losing the signal here. Maybe is that microphone, is this dying? And let's try that. Well, I guess it's the same. So hearing aids vary in price because they vary in technology. Just like a car can cost $10,000 or $100,000, they all get you from point A to point B. The difference is the engine under the hood, the processing. It's the same thing with hearing aids. You can go and get a top-of-the-line hearing aid from Costco. It doesn't mean it's the top of the line in the industry. We don't even carry the quality of hearing aids that Costco's top of the line is, because my job as an audiologist is we give you the best quality hearing available. The processing under the hood, under here, makes a difference. The T-coil that you have from Philips is going to be different than the T-coil from Widex. Widex and Oticon have totally different processing than the rest of the industry. I can get any hearing aid in the industry. I have to constantly stay on top of what is the best in the industry. I don't care what it is. I just want to give you the best. I'm not tied into anyone. As the owner, my job as an audiologist is to provide the best quality product. Do those products cost more than other products? Yes. Does service matter? Yes. Does technology and knowledge of technology matter? Yes. Does counseling on all the things that we've learned in 8 years of college matter? Yes. Does the measuring of how that hearing aid is performing matter? Yes. We do everything that we can to maximize and give you the best quality hearing available. We didn't even go into tinnitus, which is something that only an audiologist can do, and only some of the best quality hearing aids can perform. So, in answer to your question, the cost will vary. Do I have hearing aids that start out at $750 a piece in our office that are good quality? Yes. They perform the same as a $3,000 hearing aid? No. Why don't they? It mainly has to do with the processing for background noise. I am trying to get a device. Our industry is trying to get a device that is this big, driven by a battery, act like your brain. It is a phenomenal feat of what the quality of these hearing aids can do today. Combine that with a very robust app, and you have, quote, more normal hearing, more normal lifestyle. So I am a huge advocate that whatever you do it to the level that is good for you. But there is nothing wrong with having a very good quality hearing aid. And yes, do they cost $6,500 for the set? But we didn't even go into it. We do testing in noise to assess how your brain filters the noise. I cannot change how your body physiologically accepts sound, but I can work with that score and I can counsel you and maximize your potential. Those are things, I'm sorry, you don't get at Costco and you don't get at Here USA, you don't get at some of the other places.
Yes, I just wanted to say that there may be some exceptions in the United States, but the majority of Costco hearing aid centers, they don't have audiologists. They just do the basic, what do you call that test? Tone.
basic tone.
Speech test. They
Yeah.
use speech.
So they're not evaluating you for speech and noise, any of that. So eventually you may need a little more help than you can get at Costco, and that day may come.
But I just want to say, Costco's business model is a moderate product at a moderate price, which is fine. For some people, that works. As your hearing becomes more progressive, that moderate product is not going to sustain you as well as a better product. You have a dead ear. Has anybody talked to you about a Bicross hearing aid with a microphone pickup? Okay, the quality of that is something that you might notice a difference in. So I have no qualms about Costco, but just understand the niche of what Costco is. The majority of the patients who come to us could not function well on Costco hearing aids. They just need a better quality product, and that's what you're getting. Daniel has a question in the corner.
Yeah. Does Costco use primarily doctors or do they use dispensers?
So we said it's mainly dispensers. And I will say, in general, just so you know, probably 70% of hearing aids dispensed nationwide are hearing aid dispensers. Why? There's a shortage of audiologists. Because in 2007, when we became doctors of audiology, the number of schools that went from a master's degree to a doctorate degree reduced by about 60%. And now we have a growing population with more. We're starting to put more schools. In fact, I think we have 3 in California now that are 3 new ones coming. But it's just different. It's just different. So again, as long as you're fit with quality care, getting the most and getting a real ear measurement is the key to making sure everything's good.
I will also add, it really goes into who's fitting you. I spent 8 years of my life and lots of student loans to do this because I care about it. And I'm sure there's wonderful dispensers out there that also care, but I'm very invested in this. And I would hope that my level of patient care translates to how invested I am into the field and into hearing. That's one of the big differences as well.
I just have a quick comment that I've always heard that you should buy the best hearing aid you could afford.
Yeah, and so
Let me say to that. I say to people, oh, I've had hearing aids, it didn't work. I say, maybe you need to try a different place to get your hearing aids. My voice carries, to get your hearing aids, but sometimes people just give up and don't stick with them. I say to people, stick with it, keep going until you train your brain.
That's a good point. I tell all my patients that you probably will find some things you don't like about hearing aids. There's going to be lots of things you do like. You need to feel really comfortable with your provider to let them know what you like, what you don't like, so that those can be addressed. So as long as who your provider is, you feel comfortable with.
I'm also a vet. And, I lost my hearing. I got a kiss. I lost my hearing in the Air Force. And you get people that lose it from gunfire, army, whatever. And so I can give you a long story about that. But I'm also involved in the American Legion here, Post 257. So I'm in contact with all kinds of vets. And time and again, they'll go up to Long Beach, they'll get their hearing aids, and they'll come down and these darn things don't work. You know, so you have to train your brain. That's what they're saying. Okay, if you go to Costco, and I have bought hearing aids at Costco, I've had them other places and all that kind of stuff. So now we're going to these lovely ladies here, and a world of difference. And I understand, yeah, you're going to pay more money. Basically, you get them for free from the VA. But then what happens? You plug them in and, okay, and then they can only tune them so much. Now, I've had these hearing aids, I think, going on a year and a half. A world of difference. And, you know, you get what you want. If you go and buy a Ford, you get a fix or repair daily. You buy a Chevrolet, it's a shove it or leave it. Now, if you get a whatever, anyway. But kind of my point is, you have to work on yourself. It's just like your health. You get older, especially they're talking about the blood flow. Blood flow is so important all over your whole body. Imagine your little hearing aid thing only gets so much blood. Well, you gotta go to the gym, you gotta work out, you gotta go walk, you gotta do all these things to take care of yourself, and the hearing is a major part. Like they showed on those things, it's so easy to lose your balance and all this kind of stuff, fall down in that. So, you have to stay healthy. And one little side note, over at Clubhouse 3, at the PAC, I've noticed in there with the hearing and all that, usually we sit down, but when you get back up into the upper sections, I've noticed. So that's something you might want to keep in mind. So anyway, thank you so much. Bye.
I would like to say something about getting your hearing aids at the VA. Get them. Get the most expensive, get the best one for you, but here's the problem. The majority of the audiologists that they hire are fresh out of school, not a lot of world experience on how to deal with patients, how to evaluate the tests. So I'm just going to say, take them to a real audiologist. If you said they don't work. But it's not that they don't work, they're not programmed correctly.
Okay.
And just so you know, the VA
He was in the Army, he doesn't have.
the VA gives the veterans hearing aids for free. They do not get the 10%, so that's inaccurate information that you had, Vicki. But in general, they get them for free, and then they are welcome to come, and we can adjust them for them, and we give a discounted rate. But the main thing I want to say about hearing aids, you know how to walk. Why do you go to a physical therapist after a knee replacement? Because they know how hard to push you and what to do to maximize your flexibility and your mobility. In the same way, as an audiologist, we have been trained to counsel and utilize a battery of skills so that you get the most out of your hearing. The brain does need to be retrained. However, sometimes it's the quality of the product or the fit of the product that keeps people from pursuing and moving forward. Just like that cute pair of shoes in the closet that doesn't get worn because.
Okay, let me finish real quick. Okay, I'm Costco, then VA when we moved down here, and now amazing hearing. That's what the best so far. Thank you.
I got my hearing aids 4 years ago, and after using it for about 3 months, I had it adjusted several times, and it just didn't do it. So it just sat on the shelf for a long time until I went over to.
Tony encouraged you.
Correct. No, he encouraged me, and I went to Dr. Noel. And I got it adjusted. It's been great ever since. So thank you.
Okay, we need to kind of wrap up.
I hate to see hearing aids or hear about hearing aids in the drawer.
Yeah.
Quality of life sucks if you're not hearing properly.
My problem is I live 30 miles away from VA, so to drive 60 miles back and forth. And I've done that several times, and if it doesn't work, it doesn't work.
He's saying that he lives far away from the VA and it was a long travel back and forth. One of the things to know is with today's new technology, we have telehealth. So we actually can adjust your hearing aids on your phone. Oticon, you can do it through most of the testing. Widex, you need an outside. You need an outside device, but I can do everything except look in your ears for wax. So we have patients all over the country we can adjust their hearing aids for. So if you become housebound and you can't come out, we can.
Okay, we're close to a wrap. So this is the time for any questions that you may have. Also, what about you, Alan? Any questions from the Zoom audience?
Yes, question. I wonder if we could turn to the previous slide a minute.
Oh, Phil.
The previous slide relates to side effects of hearing loss.
Okay.
Okay, the one, I want you to go back on your slides to this one.
Yes, thank you. My name is Jim Haight. I'm in Pasadena. I lost my hearing in World War II. I'm now 98 years old. I think this hearing loss chart is extraordinarily interesting. I've never seen anything as detailed and as outreaching as this. One that I would like you to give a little more information on is the one relating to physical mortality. Hearing loss is tied to a greater risk of dying for older men. I've never heard that before, and I wondered if you could give any support in the way of technical publications or something like that that says that. What is the source of this slide that you have?
So the slide was a accumulation of other information, but I would be happy to take your name and number and get you the report where these were pulled from. I don't have it right off the top of my head.
That's
but
all
that
right.
was a study showing that men just die. I think the whole thing about it is that men have a higher risk of mortality than women, and those with hearing loss, it's even greater.
I'm just guessing here, but I would think it has to do with social isolation.
So you get the question.
Yeah, I think,
Put it close to your mouth.
I think that it has to do, and I guess just guessing here, because men typically aren't as much of a social animal as women, and hearing loss leads to social isolation. I don't know. Yeah.
I think men are less likely to get a physician or audiology care. They're slow to get, they slip into depression. They remove themselves from family members. They don't participate at parties and stuff like that. So that's really slips into depression, and they don't get care for that. All right.
All right, thank you.
Thank you, Jim. Anybody else?
Yeah, Tony.
Alan?
Robin Bell put this in the chat that Healthy Hearing has this on their website. And she says she's seen it at many hearing associations and audiologists.
Not exactly. I pulled it together.
Okay. Was that a question?
No, the comment.
I'm sorry.
Statement.
Statement.
Oh, a statement. Okay. And another question? Anybody else? Okay. So I think that's a wrap. Anne and Gabby, Dr. Gabby, you've done a great job. Love your handouts. I think they're really good. Yes, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Our next meeting is going to be next.
Tony.
Our next meeting, I don't want to have to eat this thing.
Just kiss it.
Our next meeting is going to be on in September, October. And I'll be, if you're signed up to me on my email address, I will send you out the date, the time, the details. It's going to be here. And our speaker is going to be from InnoCaption, which is a phone, a smartphone application, and that records everything. They have live transcribers. That's what makes them different than other companies. So, but if they get really busy, then they throw in an automated resource. They do automated
Artificial
transcription. Yeah.
Yeah, we could have a whole discussion on the closed captioning on TV and how funny it can be when it's wrong.
Well, you can have it on your TV and you can have it on your smartphone. So, and you can also have it on your standard network phone in your house. Caption Call provides. I use mine exclusively. I've got mine at home. So, okay.
Thank you.
Thank you all. Please pick up brochures on the table out there. And also, if anybody who is with us online would like me to email them any information, happy to do that. Please email me, Tony at HLAAMV.org. Thank you.
Guys,
You want me to help you? Yeah.
We didn't even think about it.